Welcome to QD Talks. I'm your host Kajal Saraswat, and today we have an exciting episode lined up for you all. We are thrilled to welcome our distinguished guest, Mr. Rahul Gupta, the VP of Q Degrees, who brings with him over a decade of experience into the multiple fields. Today, we will be diving into the realm of customer experience matrices, specifically focusing on two powerful measures, that is NPS, Net Promoter Score, and customer effort. So, get ready to explore how these matrices differ and why they hold an immense significance in today's era. Welcome Rahul to the QD Talks. So let's introduce to our audience that what does NPS mean and what the customer effort score means and how, what its meaning for the general layman, how they can relate it to their real life.
Okay, so happy to speak about NPS. Thank you so much, Kajal, for giving me an opportunity to speak about it. So I think before we talk about NPS or customer effort or anything, it is very much important to understand that what brings NPS in the industry and what is the background around it. So there's a large customer-centric service industries that we have in India and across the world. And any and every brand in the industry would want to know whether their customers are getting the best kind of service that they want to give to them. Are their customers loyal to their product and services? Would they recommend their brand to their relatives or friends? Because nobody in this world would want to spend too much cost on marketing and customer acquisition and a lot of things, which used to be a practice about a decade ago. So companies over the past 10 years have realized and have taken this as a learning from the Western atmosphere also, that one way to grow in the business is keep on incurring marketing cost. You have churn, you have turnover, customers come, customer go, and then business goes on. But then what NPS does is, NPS does not evaluate the customer satisfaction only, but it also tells the brand that how likely are customers going to advocate the brand in the market. And the philosophy emerges from the context that if you treat your customers the way they want to be treated, and if you are successful in doing so, they will themselves become the marketing tool for the organization, only for the point of view that they're happy to such an extent that they feel bringing more people who they know from their social communities. So to answer your question, from a professional terminology, NPS is a Net Promoter Score. However, it is a way for an organization to evaluate their customer advocacy in the market. There is a formula to calculate it. I don't know if you want to get into it because it is more of an understanding that we are discussing at the moment. But yes, it is absolutely different because it is very aggressive in nature, and it does not only tell a brand whether the customers are satisfied, but also tells them what are the strengths and weaknesses, what are the areas of opportunity, and how customers are displaying their sentiments.
Okay, so basically it is that brand can gauge that how loyal their customer are and how long they are being associated with them, whether they will be promoting their businesses and how they are passing on the word of mouth, basically they can help with.
Absolutely. So you and I are a customer or a consumer for a brand. It could be a food chain, it could be telecom, it could be bank, it could be automobile. Based on our own experience, based on how do I find their services and products, it's a very natural phenomena that I am likely to spread a good word or a bad word in the market, because how are they offering against my perception or expectation? So if I find it good, it's a very, very human driven thing that I tend to talk to people, I tend to post on social media, and I tend to discuss with my friends and family that maybe I've bought a service from this organization, I've got an OTT platform, I have bought a bike, and if you want, you can also go forward and then probably buy the same vehicle because I'm finding it fantastic, because my experience is fabulous. So nobody forces us to do so, nobody asks those questions, but as Indians and as socialites or as a part of our social community, we tend to do this advertising free of cost. And in the same manner, if I don't like a product, I don't take a second not to put complaints on social media or call customer care, or maybe I'm likely to spread a bad word in the market. So you've said it absolutely rightly that customers themselves can take the responsibility of becoming the advocate of the organization, and this brings a huge difference of how the company's position to put their cost in terms of marketing and creating a pull effect for the customers in the market. However, if they are giving a brilliant level of service in the whichever industry they are, they can expect their customers to bring in more business.
So indirectly, the way the customer are interacting with the brand is the way that how the brand is positioning themselves into the market. Absolutely. And so how much effort the customer is putting to reach out to that brand. Yeah. So there is something where the net promoter score and the customer effort score are also relating. If you can highlight or put some light on the customer effort score as well.
Yeah, so it's very simple. The least amount of effort the customer has to make, the more is the NPS. So with digitization and automation and so many things that have happened during COVID and post-COVID, we got to realize that a customer does not want to make an effort to get himself serviced or herself serviced. They need everything at the tick of a button or at their hand, whether it is the voice bot, chat bot or the app related thing. They don't want to consume too much time. Even if they have an issue, they don't want to spend too much time talking on call center or writing long emails and complaints. So in the nutshell, what we are saying is, at first place, customers should not have any issues. Customers' journey, their onboarding, their experience should be friction-free. However, if they ever need to talk to the brand, if they ever need to call the call center, they need to go to the branch, they need to write on social media or email, how is it that we can look at creating a short and crisp and very friction-free journey for them so that they need it and we have it? So basically, if you ask a question to the customer that maybe you called for an X or Y reason to maybe speak about your last bill payment, and you happen to speak to so and so person, how much effort did you have to make to get your query resolved? 1 being lowest, 5 being highest. And the moment he says 1, we understand that we could exceed his expectation, and he, as per him, he did not have to make too much effort in getting his query kind of resolved. And like I said, less or least effort from a customer's perspective is likely to result into great NPS, because the following question could be, if you had to make least effort in get your query serviced, we understand that you would be happy with it. And if that is the case, how likely are you to recommend us in the market? Yeah. And that's where we would ask the rating from a 0 to 10, where he may give a 8 or a 9 or a 10, only for the fact that he had a solution or a resolution expected from us. We could meet it without consuming much time, hanging him around here and there, and then why would he not recommend us in the market if we are the organization doing it? So that's the relationship. Lowest the effort, highest the NPS. Yeah.
Okay, so as you mentioned about the technology and customer being a tech savvy these days, so customer want everything on a single click, and there has been a multiple channels. Social media has been a place where customer are appreciating and depreciating the brand at the same time. So do you think that doing a NPS or a customer effort surveys onto a omni channel would be fruitful for any organization or the businesses?
Yes, why not? I mean, so NPS is just not NPS, but it's a 360-degree environment that needs to be created, whosoever is practicing it. So you've asked a very valid question. NPS needs to happen 3-dimensional. So one of the dimension is it needs to happen omni-channel. So you want to check from a customer whether he's only okay with the call center or is he finding consistency in experience when he's visiting a store also. So basically, different touch points should have consistency in the experience that he gets from the brand, and it should not be that one channel produces a highest level of service, but the moment he shifts to a different channel, he does not see the consistency. So the omni-channel experience is very much important. The other thing is we should not only be dependent on the interaction of the customer only, that when the customer is coming to us and how are we helping him and then asking for the NPS question, if that makes sense, may not, because there could be 1 million customers out of your total base who may never reach you for any help or for anything that they need, but still they are using your services. So then what you could devise is a relationship-based or a journey-based NPS. What I mean by this is, for example, if there's a certain amount of customers you sell your product to, so you can ask the NPS at the time of their onboarding and acquisition, that how is their product purchase experience and would they be likely to recommend. Similarly, you could ask NPS from an older customer who has been with you for last 6 years. at the same manner, if customer changes their plan or if customer shifts to a different profile, that is the time you can ask for an NPS. So NPS is interaction dependent, relationship dependent, journey dependent, and channel dependent. All in all, the beauty of NPS is it will give you 360-degree insights, and it will give you a lot of areas for action and insightful VOCs for the verticals across organization to work at. And I think that is going to be a differentiating factor for the brand who takes it very seriously and drives it as a culture.
Definitely, as you mentioned, that NPS covers the 360-degree view, and with the help of the VOC that you rightly mentioned, we can also track the customer sentiments. That
correct.
It's just not the number or the count or the scale they are giving the answer on. It is their feelings, it is their sentiment. That there might be a customer who is giving an 8 and 9 to us. They might be our promoter, but there could be a suggestion also into their VOC that they recommend a brand. So as you mentioned that it gives a 360-degree view. So how a brand or the organization can leverage the power of NPS to enhance their business?
Yeah, so again, a fantastic question, because I think that is the phase we are in at the moment. That one way to understand NPS is it's a customer experience metric, and it has an edge over the traditional CSAT, and if you have a higher NPS score, you have a higher advocacy and loyalty. But I think what brings about a case of conflict for a lot of people who are still new and niche to this NPS terminology is the belief in NPS, that how does it actually help the balance sheet of the organization? How does it actually help the growth of the organization or the business, or maybe adding more customers? And honestly speaking, there may not be a very, very direct commercial relationship between NPS and the growth. However, what NPS does is it has a long-term effect on the organization. So if I'll give you an example, if you see higher amount of churn rate and exit of a customer in your organization, that could be because they are not satisfied with a lot of things. That may be a case because their queries are not getting resolved. They are continuously getting bad experience. Now, at the same time, when these customers are leaving, you're also incurring cost to bring in more customers through marketing or advertising or campaigns and whatnot. Now, if you would have done the NPS correctly, and if you would have heard the customers at the time of survey and taken actions to improvise or do service recovery, as we say, not only these customers could have been avoided to exit the system, but they would have brought more customers. So it would have helped you, the retention part, and it would have also helped you in reducing the cost. Now, if you merge both of them together, it does bring about an impact on your growth of the organization, enhancement and other things. But it's not an overnight thing. It's not even a monthly thing. It takes years to build it. But yeah, it is a proven thing that if NPS is practiced, pursued, and culturally driven as a DNA in the organization, and not just at certain layers or with certain verticals, it does change the whole vibe in the market, and it does create a positive sentiment for the customers.
So it is like NPS helps you into the deep dive analysis that
Absolutely.
how your customers are feeling, what is their emotions about your brands.
Right.
And let's not, while brand should leverage NPS as a metric that will help them to make their customer their brand ambassador indirectly.
Absolutely. So customers should be at the center of everything that a brand does, and I think in one of the questions you said that they could appreciate and depreciate a brand. It is absolutely true, because a customer is a brand ambassador, and his perception against the reality of service that he gets drives him whether he would want to promote or demote a brand. And I think as humans, there are a lot of services that we use on an everyday basis, and we would love to hear recommendations, and we would love to give recommendations. And if that is the case, and if that is the science that consciously, unconsciously drives all humans to choose the service providers, then NPS is a great metric.
Great. So just to wrap up the session, the last question I have is there might be an ample of brand who might be using NPS, and there might be a brands who are not aware or less aware about the NPS services. So what future you seek of the NPS softwares or in the NPS matrices adaptation into the Indian market?
So it's a very growth oriented question. I think I don't have the key facts in terms of actual data, but basis my experience, basis our continuous engagements and the way we drive this metric with a lot of brands that we work with, I can very confidently say that in India, it's still the market is wide open with more than 75-70% organizations either not using NPS or not practicing it correctly or not getting enough benefits out of it. So maybe 1/4 of the only market is tapped at the moment against maybe a twice or thrice percentage in the Western countries. However, we have got some really, really niche brands in every sector and every industry who are using NPS. And while they could be the leader and they could be the role models of that particular industry, a lot of organizations are, I think, going to come on the same path and then follow them as a role model. So to answer your question, I think almost 3/4 of the market is untapped at this moment. I can say this as a professional and as a personal life as well, because just imagine as customers, how many times do we get NPS with whatever number of brands that we use? And the moment you ask this question to yourself, you would realize that there could be 20 brands you use in a week, and you might only hear about an NPS from 1 or 2. And some do satisfaction surveys, some ask some other rapid questions or dynamic ways, but how many actually follow the NPS philosophy? That's a big question. And I think our own personal testimony and experience of so many brands that we use across travel, telecom, banks, insurance is as live evidence for it.
Okay, great. So it was a great enlightening session, and hope it would be fruitful and productive for our audience as well, that they will be now focusing on, and they might be focusing on creating happy customers and how NPS can help them to make their customer experience better. So thank you so much, Rahul, for the today's session, and hope the audience will find it more fruitful.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And it was my pleasure to speak around NPS, and I'm sure there is some sort of awareness and then some sort of use that probably comes to the life of everyone. Yeah?
Thank you.
Thank you.
And to our dear listeners, thank you for tuning into this episode of Curie Talks. We hope you find this discussion enlightening, and don't forget to subscribe for more exciting content. Until the next time, keep spreading positivity and providing exceptional customer experience. Thank you, everyone.